Greetings and welcome to another Tomorrow's World Webcast. My name is Wallace Smith, and the item I want to talk about today, I wanted to get a relevant recent newspaper item regarding this, but frankly, it seems like the news is changing day by day, so I decided, just forget it. I'm just going to talk about it. And that is the tragedy that we see of all these people, hundreds of thousands of them, seeking to migrate out of Syria and have status as refugees at various places, in particular Germany and some other countries in the European Union. Your heart can't help but be touched by what's going on. Let's take a look really at two facts about this that we need to keep in mind. First, items like this sometimes we may not see them as prophetic fulfillment. We might look in prophecy and say, what does it say about people migrating out of Syria? And that detail may not be in there. But keep in mind, God uses a number of things that surprise us sometimes in order to fulfill prophecy. For instance, this influx into Europe is pressing the European Union in a way some things haven't in decades. It's a true humanitarian crisis. Not just a financial crisis, not just a political crisis, but a humanitarian crisis that Europe now faces. How might God use something like that? Well, consider this. I actually do have a quote. It's a bit dated now, but it's from September 8th, 2015. And it's a Wall Street Journal opinion page titled, "The World's Policemen and the Bodies Washing Ashore." And I'm actually just going to read one comment in which partially the author quotes from a different article in the paper. But he says, suddenly there's talk in Europe about using military power to establish safe zones in Syria to contain the exodus of refugees. And he quotes this fellow Brett Stevens from his other article. He says, Mr. Stevens concludes that if the U.S. doesn't take a leading role, even Germany may soon be rebuilding its military and using hard power against unraveling neighbors. The fact is God Almighty, and you never can predict what He might use to put in place a piece of prophecy. Prophecy continues to unfold. But secondly, the second point I want to make concerning this tragic situation concerning these Syrian migrants is that the world has no real solutions to offer for some of these kinds of problems. If you consider the countries where all these refugees are fleeing, how can they take in so many people? And it is so many people. You know, it's easy to be just jaded, not really look at that and say, oh, it's a problem over there. But these are human beings made in God's image. You look at them, and many of them, they're worried about their families, worried about their children, living in a land that is literal, well, I can't say literally, but it's coming apart at the seams. It's just in chaos. You've got Islamic militants coming in for the Islamic State, and they look, what's going to be the fate of my family? Are we going to be captured? Are we going to be tortured? Are we just going to be killed by some stray bomb that was supposed to go someplace else and came here? They're looking for safety. They're looking for security. They're looking for a future. And so they're finding a place. They're trying to find a new home. Even though it involves crossing dangerous waters at times, being resisted at borders and not knowing what your fate will be. Truly a humanitarian crisis. But for the countries taking them in, it's an economic challenge, it's a cultural challenge, it's a logistics challenge, it's a security challenge. How many Islamic militants may be coming in with those people? The Islamic State has essentially declared death to the West. They would love to destroy Europe, Christendom, as it's sometimes called, perhaps erroneously. Are they taking advantage of something like this? What do you do? Do you ignore the humanitarian crisis and just let literally hundreds of thousands of people suffer? Or do you risk changing your entire continent and your culture? Remember, nations are composed of people. You can't take in 500,000 refugees per year, let alone 1 million, and not also change who you are. Frankly, this world has no solutions, no real solutions for its problems. We'll have to look to tomorrow's world for those solutions. And situations like these should simply add emphasis to our prayers that that world will come soon today. I hope it's been a profitable webcast, and I hope you'll watch the rest that we have to offer at tomorrowsworld.org.